Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user Lost Contact. My 22 male sister, 25 female, whom I have completely cut contact with and not spoken to in 3 years, just messaged me and wants to see me again. I don't know what to do or how to respond. My sister is 25 years old. I am a 22-year-old male. 3 years ago, we completely cut contact and never spoke with each other again. We had a very vicious falling out and went completely separate ways. I had always thought I'd probably never see or speak to her again. We both had a pretty crappy childhood. Our parents were rotten to both of us. It was never good. I always got the short end of the deal. Beatings, violence, what have you. When she was old enough to move out, she did, and she left me with them. Things got way worse for me, but eventually, when I turned 18 and went to college, after constant pressure from her, I did move out. We lived together for a year, and this was when the problems started. It was all cause we were struggling for cash, and the monetary problems caused constant worsening resentment. Basically, the agreement was that we'd both pay 50-50, but with me focusing so much on my education and barely having enough time for a job outside that, I found coming up with my share of the money harder than it was for her. She ended up taking on more of the pay and responsibility, and I tried hard to keep up. It led to us having a lot of arguments. I started doing night jobs, which meant I slept a lot during the day. She started accusing me of being lazy. She sometimes even accused me of hiding money or lying about how much I made and trying to hide it from her, which was very hurtful for me to hear. The last straw came when one of her friends lost some money around us, and my sister accused me of stealing it. Things became very violent. I lost all hope and faith in her because I couldn't believe she'd level such an accusation against me. It ended very badly and I moved out. I lived with a friend as roommates since then. I was about 19. I've changed roommates a couple of times, but I have a circle of close friends. I hadn't talked to my sister at all since that day, not even a little bit. That was 3 years ago. I sometimes get messages from my parents and talk to them very briefly, but don't talk much to them either. I've lived my own life since then and have pretty much avoided my entire family. It's been that way for 3 years, and I've slowly overcome many challenges and put my life together through hard work. Then today, I got a message from my sister out of the blue. It was sent to me on Facebook. My profile isn't that hard to find. I had never blocked her on Facebook, but I had just completely ignored her account and never messaged her, aside from occasionally looking at her profile. I won't type out the full message she sent to me, cause it was really long, and there were some really sensitive and emotional bits in it which I wouldn't feel comfortable making public. But essentially, some of the things she said were, "I've been thinking about you a lot recently. I really miss you and I really love you. I'm very sorry about the way everything happened. You didn't deserve it. I should have believed you. I hope you can forgive me and give me another chance." It was really long and I could feel she had put a lot of emotion and sincerity into it, and it came off as somewhat apologetic, but wanting to put the past behind. She said she wanted to meet up with me again and see how I've been doing. I haven't replied yet. The whole thing caught me completely by surprise. I'd tried to keep my family out of my mind for 3 years while building up what I have so far in my life, and this was completely unexpected. I had to fight back more than a few tears, but now I'm again in a calm position, but I don't know what to do. While I have tried to move on, it doesn't mean I've forgotten or forgiven what happened. The way she accused me of stealing and how vicious everything was, there had been a lot of hatred then. But now, after 3 years, she contacts me? After 3 years, she wants to build a new start and pretend like nothing happened and put it all in the past? What on earth could motivate her to do this? I have my life, she has hers. What on earth could bring her to try to drag all this back into our lives after 3 years? I don't know what to do. I haven't responded yet. I could just ignore the message entirely. If I respond, I suppose she'll want to meet up and build a new relationship and everything. Honestly, I don't need her in my life and I'm doing okay on my own. I have no idea what would motivate her to do this, and I have no idea how to respond. Help, please? What should I do? Well, OP, in my opinion, you could just ignore her and pretend like the message never came and you move on with your life, like you have so far. But from what you shared on the message, she truly is sorry, and if it was me, I would probably try to give her the chance to apologize face to face. The way I see it, you can never have enough people that love you in your life, right? Now, I'm not trying to ignore or minimize the horrible fight that you guys had, which got pretty violent from what you tell us. But do you think meeting her is going to rehash too much emotional pain on your part? If you think it will, then maybe it would be better not to meet up. But if you think you'd be okay and somewhat indifferent, well, what do you've got to lose then? Worst case is you go back to ignoring her, and the best case is that you regain a relationship with your sister, which I think would be a positive thing. What about you guys? What do you think? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. HN92 says, "It sounds like she might actually be sorry. I think you should meet up with her in a public place, like a coffee shop or restaurant, and hear what she has to say." Okay, I don't know how to explain this. I'm not good with words, but like, I kind of love her even though I haven't spoken to her in so many years. I mean, she's my sister, and it's painful for me to admit that despite everything that went wrong, I have this gut-wrenching feeling inside of me that if we meet up, it will be too painful after 3 years. Maybe I'm being a coward, I don't know. I'm not used to these emotions. It's hard holding back tears. Camel Oatmeal says, "Okay, so I've been the older sister in a very similar situation with your parents. The first thing I would like to say is that she did not abandon you or leave you with them. She left for her own well-being when she could. She couldn't stay there anymore, and she wanted better for you too. That is why she urged you to move out. She loves you." The other things she did were 3 years ago. She probably is not the same person she was 3 years ago, and neither are you. She may truly miss you and want to make amends. You can meet her in a public place and tread carefully. She may apologize for her past behavior. She may not have any ulterior motives. But what will it hurt to meet with her? If your past is as crappy as you say, then you only have each other. Maybe she woke up and realized it. Fountainhead says, "What she did, accusing of stealing, etc., was crappy, yes. But she was a 21-year-old from an abusive house trying to provide a living for herself and her 18-year-old brother. She didn't leave you with your parents, she got out to help herself so she can help you when the time came for it. It was a difficult situation all around, and I can see how you saw it as abandonment. I know I just got a snippet of your life from your post, but from what I've read, she seemed genuinely apologetic and tried to do her best. Maybe give her a chance and see what she has to say." Additional information from OP's comments. "We both threw hits at each other. It was 3 years ago. It doesn't matter. I've put that part of my life behind me and tried to move on. I wasn't trying to disclaim responsibility. If you want to think the violence is all my fault, fine. But we both hit each other and we both hurt each other and we were both wrong to do so. And to be clear, it's not that I'm mad at her or angry at her. It's just I'm scared it might dig up some old wounds. In my heart, I still love her because she's my sister. But for 3 years, I've tried to rebuild my life. I don't know what would happen if I go back and try to open old wounds." Well, the community is behind OP meeting with her, but being careful. But OP's kinda weary because it might hurt to do so. Now, if it was me, I'd probably still want to meet with her. I'd be cautious, but still want to do it. But leaving speculation aside, let's move on with the update and see what OP did next. Well, I was gonna leave this for a few days before writing it, but I have time now, so I might as well. Thanks to everyone that gave supportive advice and encouragement. Part of me can't believe this is happening. It all feels so surreal, like a dream, but I'm glad it happened. After I got the message from my sister, I wanted to message her back. I'm not good with putting my feelings into words, and I typed out a long response. I tried to put all my thoughts and feelings into it, but I read it and it was so clustered and nonsensical, and parts of it were just embarrassing to read. I deleted it all and wrote another message. I wanted to accurately convey my feelings, but without coming off as accusatory or rude or anything. Basically, I had spent the last 3 years rebuilding my life. I'd put a wall around myself, separating myself from my family and everything that happened. I think I was scared to cross that wall again. I deleted the message again and I spent hours trying to reply, but I think I just put too much thought into it and ended up not even replying. I left it as it is. I ignored the whole thing, I pretended it didn't happen, part of me hoped she wouldn't send another message and that would be it. However, at night, I got another message from her. She must have known that I'd seen her message and I didn't reply. Her message was short, it just said, "I understand if you don't want to contact me or ever have anything to do with me again, but if you do, just know you have a sister out there and she loves you." I felt so guilty reading this. I cried almost instantly. I wish I hadn't ignored her first message. I wish I'd just sent a reply. I must have been crying loudly, cause my friend, the guy I live with, came in and started asking what's wrong. I said nothing at first, but he was really helpful and I opened up to him about what happened and how I'd been messaged by my sister. He sorta knows about my background with my family, so he was really supportive. He gave me encouragement and told me I should be receptive to her and contact her. I told him I wanted to, but I didn't know what to say or how to say it. He said it doesn't matter and just to write whatever I feel like. It doesn't have to be perfect. I sent her a message back. All I said was, "I miss you too." She replied and we started talking from there. I was very apprehensive and I made a specific effort to not mention what happened 3 years ago. I agreed to meet up with her. She has her own entire house now that she rents. She seems to be doing very well on her own. She said she'd understand if I wasn't ready to see her yet so suddenly after so long, but I told her that I wanted to. I explained to my friend that I was going to visit my sister for the first time in 3 years. I was very emotional and somewhat unstable, but he was very understanding. He told me to take as much time as I need and he'd give me a call later to make sure everything was okay. I thanked him for all his immense help and support. Meeting my sister for the first time after all these years, it was... I can't even describe it, what I felt when she opened the door. I cried, she hugged me forever. I thought I would feel uncomfortable, I thought I would feel scared or nervous, I thought I would feel angry or fearful, but there was none of that. I almost felt like I was returning to a home I'd abandoned. We talked about everything, even about what happened 3 years ago, but we still didn't talk too much about that and didn't point any fingers. She seems to be doing very great with her life, able to afford to rent an entire house on her own at the age of 25. That's incredible. Apparently, she still maintains contact with our parents, much more frequently and regularly than I do. She asked me how I was doing and said that I seemed to be doing well. She offered me any money or financial assistance I needed. I told her no thanks, but she kept insisting. She told me that I'm her little brother, and as her little brother, she feels she has a duty to look out for me, and she feels she hasn't done that so well. I think she feels guilty over what happened, and it's her way of making repairs. I called my friend and told him things were well. I ended up spending the night there at her house. I'm here right now typing this out. As I said, I still can't believe this all happened. The emotion is overwhelming. I feel like my head is spinning. Honestly, it feels like a dream, kind of, but this turned out far better than I hoped for. It's like a miracle that just appeared out of nowhere. I guess I'll see what happens from here. Thanks to all for your support. Well, OP, this all sounds great. It sounds like a great and positive start to a new relationship with your sister. Hopefully, it keeps getting better from here on out. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user I'm the One Who. The Karen of my building told me her keycard isn't working, demanded I fixed her keycard, so I did. I'm the facility manager for my building. Everything that happens and goes wrong is my responsibility, so I make sure everything runs smoothly. My boss had made it clear, it's my building, and I was hired to not only keep people in line, but run everything. I'm not a douche, but I hold people accountable, forcibly but politely. There was no facility manager for a long time before I came along, and both clients and employees ran amok with no order. In the 4 months I've been here, my boss has praised my performance and has gone to bat for me countless times. She's the best boss I've ever had. I've got a firm but fair approach and my reputation reflects that. I've got a Karen in the building and trust me, the name stereotype applies, who's just a counselor for family services. Has nothing to do with our group. She likes to complain about everything and gives my boss a headache almost daily. She shares an office with another woman who's unfortunately picking up on her Karen tendencies. Karen in training. I've been doing a keycard audit all week and I knew to leave Karen's keycard alone because she's the only Karen in the building, so her name stands out. I am missing 75 keycards, lots of former employees having all-door access, dating all the way back to 2015. Can't have that, so I deleted a lot of them, especially if they had a wacky name or just a room number. However, I did delete Karen in Training's card information because it wasn't under her name. She just called me to tell me her keycard wasn't working and Karen happened to be passing by and overheard it. I went and fixed Karen in Training's keycard and we went to go check to see if it worked or not. We found Karen outside of the office waiting, complaining to my boss that her keycard didn't work either. Karen wandered away and my boss rolled her eyes. I smiled and told her I would take care of it. After checking to make sure Karen in Training's keycard worked, I went downstairs to check the system, looked up Karen, and wouldn't you know it, her keycard was completely fine. In fact, it showed she had a master keycard, so I changed all of the permissions and limited her back to just her room only. I went upstairs and got my boss's attention because her office is next door to the ladies, and I mouthed "listen" and pointed. I opened their door and was all, "Hey Karen, I went and checked your keycard in the system. Everything is good to go. In fact, it said you had a master key to the building and per the company orders, since you're not a contractor or a company employee, I can't give you that access. So I had to revoke your status to just this room only. Can't have you bugging people on official business. Wink. Thanks for bringing your keycard to my attention." She started to object that she needed the master key because SYC, and I was all, "Yeah, sorry, maybe before, but I'm the facility manager and you don't need access to everything except this office. And if you do, it goes outside your pay grade, so you'll have to come get me. Okay? Cool, thanks. Bye." And then just closed the door on her mid-sentence. My boss was quietly laughing her ass off in her office and gave me an air high five. OP's edit. To be clear, I'm not talking down about my coworkers. They're fantastic people and I'm not a suck-up. They work in education and bend over backwards to help students and customers get the information and help they need. The building mostly got shut down and neglected and customers got lazy due to the C word. We offer free classrooms to those who need it, including a computer lab, by a reservation first-come, first-served basis. The problem we ran into was that the previous facility manager passed away suddenly and the replacement was temporary. Coupled with the C word, this was our problem. My co-workers weren't able to enforce rules and regulations and rooms were left destroyed and neglected, keys stolen, etc. Since my arrival, I've enforced the rules and allowed the staff to resume their normal duties without having to clean up after and babysit customers. Karen isn't staff, she's just renting an office. She has no business having access to our materials, supplies, or workspaces, especially when they're handling students' private information. Aw, poor Karen. She doesn't have all the access she wanted anymore. Serves her right for being a Karen anyways. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the C word that OP was referring to in the edit was COVID? Anyways, thanks for sharing, OP, and take care. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.